Welcome back to Health and Wellness here on Northwest Digital News with Jody Summers. And Jody, glad to have you back. We're going to talk about liver health today.
And it's good to be back. This is so important, and we don't hear, I don't think, enough about it from in the mainstream news. We don't hear enough about it just in general. Your liver is so important. It's as important as your brain and your heart and all things. And we just don't hear enough about it and how to keep it healthy.
Let's visit a little bit first about what specifically the liver does, because as you mentioned, there's really no conversation around this. The only thing I think people really ever hear about liver at all is they know somebody who's an alcoholic and they immediately go, oh, they got a liver problem. But other than that, they don't really know much about the liver. What specifically does the liver do?
Well, okay, so it does over 500 things. We're not even going to list those 500 things because we'd be here till next week. Mm-hmm. It does a lot of things, but the four things come to and that we're going to just touch on is detoxification, mm-hmm. Which when you think of alcohol, it's a toxin, and that is why people who drink a lot of alcohol have to filter this toxin, and you get that association. Mm-hmm. It is digestion, which we talked a lot about digestion on the show, and we don't think of the liver as a digestive organ, but it is. It produces bile, which we'll talk about in a little bit. It communicates with other organs, how many nutrients, where the nutrients go, bringing in the toxins. So it has a lot of interaction with every other organ of the body. Mm-hmm. And it regulates blood supply. It stores blood. It helps clot blood. It's really important in blood health. Mm-hmm. So kind of the four main, there's a ton of other stuff. This topic literally for 10 weeks. Mm-hmm.
We could talk about it for 10 weeks, yeah. There'd be a lot of, yeah, but we're not going to do that, yes. Yeah. All right, let's talk about some of the symptoms of healthy liver. So if we have a healthy liver, some of the benefits that we really get out of having that good healthy liver doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Increased energy is probably the number one. You feel better because you have less toxins. You feel when you're, well, think about if you've had too much to drink. I mean, who hasn't? You feel unbalanced. Mm-hmm. You feel your mind is not clear. It's exactly symptoms of, when you think of symptoms of having too much to drink, mm-hmm. it's because you have too many toxins. And when your liver is not working like it should, a lot of those same types of symptoms that you see in somebody who's had too much to drink is exactly how you would feel on a smaller scale, of course. Mm-hmm. But you don't have as much energy. Your mind's not clear. You're out of balance. The liver generally shows with very clear skin, good sleep, healthy bowel movements. And this is one thing that, again, I work with a lot of cancer clients, whether, whatever they're doing for their treatment, but when you have a healthy liver, the liver actually binds up estrogen and what's the word I'm looking for? Different hormones. So mm-hmm. it can bind estrogen. And so for women who have estrogen positive breast cancer, the healthy liver is really important because you don't want that excess estrogen to be circulating to feed any, it can actually reduce your cancer risk mm-hmm. to have a healthy liver. So
makes a lot of sense. Now you mentioned clear mind and having a more focused mind as a result of healthy liver. Talk about that a little bit, because that's a really interesting point.
And again, the reason I like to use the example of somebody who's had too much to drink is it is an exaggerated form of having an unhealthy liver. I mean, it's exaggerated, and your liver takes care of that, and it filters those toxins. But mm-hmm. it's when you have toxins floating through the body that the liver can't handle, you get this unthinking. And so when you have an unhealthy liver, it's harder for the liver to do everything it needs to do. Like we said, it does 500 other things. And so you know, you may experience memory fog, not quite so sharp thinking. You know, I mean, there's a lot of reasons that you can have those things in your mind, but the liver is always one. In fact, one of the things that naturopathic doctors are taught naturopathic schools in town is that if you can't find the root cause of somebody's problem, start with the liver, because the liver is responsible for so many things, even the way we think.
Interesting. So if your liver is compromised, what are some of the things that are contributing to that problem?
Yeah. And if so, toxins from food, toxins from alcohol, we all know that. Hydrogenated oil is huge it's a poison. And thankfully in the United States, it is going to be now been put on the generally recognized it's safe. It's been taken off that list by the FDA, and it's going to have to be removed. But I mean, hello, for our own health, we shouldn't be having hydrogenated oil. Any fried foods, hydrogenated oil, fats that are unhealthy. Corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup would be huge. I'm gonna talk about that here in just a minute, about that really contributes an unhealthy liver. Pharmaceutical drugs, your liver is a filter. It's like a trash can. All that stuff goes through it. The more toxins that we're giving our body, it has to be filtered through the liver. And so, especially if somebody has a poor diet on top of a pharmaceutical drug, the liver has to work really hard. If people only go away, if anybody goes away with one thing, this is what I want people to understand. Tylenol is, with the exception of alcohol, which we all know, but this is thing people don't know generally. Tylenol is likely the most dangerous drug that you can take for your liver. There are over emergency room visits a year, 26 hospitalizations, over 5 deaths a year. That's well over one contributed to Tylenol and liver disease. Tylenol is toxic to the liver. I personally think it should be only given under a doctor's care and not available over the counter, but that's never going to happen. It was the only drug that my children, when they went to high school and you had to write down what they could and could not do on their medical chart, it said, do not give Tylenol. It just is, in my personal opinion, super dangerous to the liver. So Tylenol interferes with glutathione, which is the master's antioxidant. And when you reduce glutathione production, you have more free radicals, you have more antioxidant production, and it really adds to the stress of the liver. So to me, that's probably the most important takeaway here, because a lot of us know about alcohol.
So the best way to kill your liver is to get drunk on a regular basis and then take Tylenol for the hangover the next morning.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And people do that. People do that.
Yes. Wow. I did not know that about Tylenol, but you know what? I very rarely used painkillers anyway, but if I ever have, I've used ibuprofen. And interestingly enough, Tylenol has done absolutely nothing for me. It has no effect at all. So I don't know why, but has no effect. So I didn't realize that it was a dangerous drug for your liver, but I haven't been taking it because it simply doesn't work.
So here's just a total side note. When we give children and babies vaccinations, oftentimes doctors will say, oh, if he or she has a fever, give them Tylenol. Or if you even look at some doctor's office, they pre-give Tylenol before the vaccinations. Now, vaccinations have some toxins in them. And when you're giving Tylenol alongside of a toxin, remember I said that Tylenol, its master antioxidant is glutathione, but Tylenol stops the production of glutathione. So you cannot detoxify those things as well if you're taking Tylenol at the time of vaccination.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's absolutely crazy.
So how do you take care of it? Good maintenance and care for the liver would consist of what?
No Tylenol. I feel like a broken record, but it really is. It's really important, and again, I just think underreported.
Mm-hmm.
But stop eating foods that damage the liver. You know, I'm not against. Hello, I live very close to the wine country, Napa. I'm a wine kind of girl, but I also know that it's really not very healthy. No matter what the Heart Association says about red wine, there's better options for those types of, resveratrol and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, moderate alcohol, obviously. Cut out high fructose corn syrup, which can cause fatty liver disease, which is epidemic now. We used to see liver disease specifically for cirrhosis and alcohol, and now we're seeing actually a greater increase in fatty liver disease, and unfortunately we're seeing it in children, and that is caused from high fructose corn and sodas and drinks and energy drinks and all of those things. So cut out Tylenol, cut out alcohol if you can, high fructose corn syrup, hydrogenated oils.
Mm-hmm.
Managing the blood sugar is really important for healthy liver. There's an insulin blood sugar connection. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you manage your blood sugar and keep down your insulin, it is also liver protectant, not just for diabetes. Eat an anti-inflammatory diet full of cruciferous vegetables, lots of antioxidants, green tea,
Mm-hmm.
Spinach, all sorts of things. Beets are fabulous for the liver. So juicing beets, eating raw beets, beet supplementation, and it's so interesting to me that so many connections between the way our body looks and foods that are healthy for the body. So if you look at the color of a healthy liver, it's like a deep red beet.
Mm-hmm.
And again, connection.
Mm-hmm.
Totally random here, but like if we all know carrots are good for the eyes. If you cut a carrot and you make it looks like your eye. I mean, so
Mm-hmm.
there are foods that are really good for your organs.
Mm-hmm.
A couple things that I actually like, and I think we have possibly here. Let me see. I have so Epic Liver Bites.
Mm-hmm.
Epic is a really good company with high quality standards. They have organic meats and things, and I actually eat their little tiny bites.
Mm-hmm.
I eat these like as medicine, and they're liver, and people don't like liver, but liver is really good. When years ago we used to eat the whole animal, and now we just eat the lean part and don't eat the organ meats. But organ meats are really good if they're from a high quality animal, if they're
Mm-hmm.
farmed well.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a really good product. The second thing that I really like is this Dandy Blend, which is, I hate to say it, but it's like a coffee substitute, although nothing substitutes for real coffee. But it is kind of like that. It has that texture, that flavor of that kind of a coffee taste, but it's extremely healthy for the liver. So those are some things that you can do. Milk thistle is an herb that is liver healthy. Selenium, turmeric, vitamin C, magnesium, all of those things are really, really healthy for the liver, and staying away from alcohol and Tylenol.
Mm-hmm. I actually had my sister, who has a few young kids, had mentioned to me some time ago that vitamin C was actually really good for helping a baby suffering with constipation to move. I find it interesting to be a healthy supplement for liver as well. So, great stuff. Well, you definitely need to take care of the liver. You hear of these situations where people are suffering from some form of liver disease, and when that liver goes downhill, it's pretty much a death sentence. And so, if you're not doing things to take care of it, it's not to say that you can't recover a ailing liver and bring it back.
Yep.
I'm simply saying,
actually, you can.
yes,
You can.
yes, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I'm simply saying that if you aren't taking actions to reverse those problems that you're experiencing from it, A damaged and compromised liver will definitely take you down. It'll be the end of life if you don't do something about it. So, all great suggestions. Thanks, Jody, for all this information on liver health and how vital it is to our health. Thanks, everybody who joined us here on Health and Wellness on Northwest Digital News with Jody Summers. Thanks for joining us.
This concludes today's live programming on Northwest Digital News. Thanks for joining us for this special broadcast. Heard around the world in more than 70 countries on YouTube, Instagram, Patreon, Facebook, and Twitch TV. If you enjoyed a story or guest we had here on Northwest Digital News and would like to strut your stuff on the broadcast, email us today at wainfo2017@gmail.com or call or text 360-545-3501. We're always interested in unique stories, topics, and guests to share with our worldwide audience. Before you go, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up and comment on the live stream. And for those of you who'd like to financially support the broadcast, you can do so at patreon.com/Northwest Digital News. We thank you for your patronage. On behalf of Chris Bornstead, Kyle Torgeson, Stephanie Hunter, and all the people that made this broadcast possible, I'm Kevin Hunter. Till next time, take care.